'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. Then Santa arrived and emptied his sack. What a great mess! And that awoke Vanessa up from her sleep, and she did say to Santa, "What the fuck are you doing? Are you a burglar?" And he said, "No, it is I, Father Christmas." And she said, "Oh, good. I hope I've got all the things I wanted." And he said, "Maybe." And she said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "Have you got a glass of beer?" And she said, "Yeah, you fat cunt." Hello, welcome. It's Talking Bollocks Christmas Special! Woohoo! Hello. Just thought I'd like to be a twat nice and early there. Welcome to the Christmas Bollocasts for Christmas 2017. Are you feeling festive? Have you had some mince pies? Have you got your turkey ready? Hey, is the tree up? Are the lights up? Are you one of those cunts who puts lights all over the house, displaying the fact that you know it's Christmas as well as everybody else? Is it freezing cold where you are? Do you live in a part of the world where it's hot? What's a hot Christmas like? How weird is that? My sister has her Christmas on the beach. That seems a bit fucked up to me. I like to be shivering like a fucking Eskimo. So are you? Are you feeling festive? I can't wait for the end of Christmas, because that word fucking disappears, doesn't it, eh? Oh, festive is festive end of year, festive review, festive programmes, festive adverts, festive menus, festive top tens, festive ways of making your festive fucking Christmas festiver. Even festivier. Fucking bollocks. Anyway, let's do it. My name's Howard Smith. I am the lead singer of UK thrash band Acid Rain. I also do stand-up, keithplatt.co.uk. I do this podcast, Talking Bollocks. Find me on Twitter. Find Acid Rain on Twitter. Find Keith Platt on Twitter. Find us all on Facebook. Find Acid Rain on Instagram, and find me at Howard on Instagram. That's about it. That's what I do. And don't forget, if you want to support this podcast, and you want to get Acid Rain exclusive behind the scenes stuff, you can become a secret bollocker, and you can also become part of the Acid Rain Insider program by going to patreon.com/Howard H. Smith. It will cost you $5 a month or £3.70 in real money, and what you get is tons of exclusive content that's only available there. Going up this month, next month there's going to be all sorts of exciting bits and pieces. There's already been lots of stuff, but there's already a load of you have subscribed, which is absolutely fucking brilliant. Keeps the lights on here at Talking Bollocks Towers. Really appreciate it. Please, if you like what I do in any way, shape or form, sign up at Patreon. It is genuinely worth it. I mean, for a start, the Christmas special edition of this is going to be about an hour, so there's going to be an extra hour for all Patreon listeners, a special that's going to be coming in your way on January the 1st. Also, you get to send me questions before I interview people, so you can have your questions answered. Malcolm Dome has done some, Max Cavaliera has done some, and Danny Filth has done some. There's going to be loads, and there's going to be every interview, you've got a chance to be a part of it. Okay, there you go. That's the end of the bullshit up front. Welcome back. It's Talking Bollocks. What's been going on? I'll tell you what's been going on. I'm not going to do my usual ranty stuff about what's been going on in the world of metal and all the rest of it, because, what's been going on in the world of me? I just wanted to share the last kind of few weeks with you guys, because it's been fucking mental, absolute, in a good way. I guess I can say now, and it's going to come out because we played the cover on the tour, but we've worked out a new cover version for Acid Rain, and it's a song by Suzanne Vega called Blood Makes Noise. I nearly said called Talking Bollocks. Called Blood Makes Noise, and we've demoed it. It's not officially recorded, but we did a demo version. And I sent it to her management, and I sent it to her Facebook page just to see if we could get her approval or not. And we did. And the message came in, and I'm going to read it to you now. It says, "I love it," in caps. I want, and right at the end she says, it puts me in. We messaged backwards and forwards a bit. And it says, "Puts me in a really great mood. I must say thanks for this. That's so awesome." From Suzanne Vega. big long time fan of hers, as many of you will know, so that's really cool. Then I met Bruce Dickinson. Yeah, that's right. He is the guy I met who wasn't very nice. So you all know about that already. But the reason I've mentioned who it is because Malcolm and I end up talking about it. So you're going to find out anyway. And then I got to meet and interview Max Cavaliera. That's going to be on the January podcast. He was mega cool. Remembered Acid Rain, gave me a big hug and said, "Nice to meet you, brother." What a highlight. Okay, so that's 3 heroes. And then yesterday I interviewed Fish, one of my all-time legendary heroes. Got on famously with him. He's put me on the guest list for tonight's show as a personal guest of his, giving me triple A's and everything. I mean, just awesome. Couldn't believe it. So I'm really looking forward to doing that tonight. And you'll all be able to hear how that gig went on the January podcast. January is going to be Max Cavaliera and Fish. I mean, what a way to start the year. That's pretty impressive. It's my podcast, but fuck it, I'm going to say it. Well, it's our podcast, isn't it? Because I couldn't do it on my own, because if you guys weren't out there, there'd be no point doing it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty fucking impressive, isn't it? You've got to say. And of course, did the Tour of the North, which you're going to be hearing from Dan very soon. That's going to be the first interview up where we have quite a chat about the tour. And it was just awesome. So many highlights. Really, I mean, great show in Manchester, the Rebellion, as always. Great crowd, turnout in numbers, and it's just awesome to play there. Glasgow Audio, sold out, insane. It was just fucking insane, sweaty as fuck on one of the coldest nights of the year up in Glasgow, and it was still amazing. Traversing the UK on what was supposed to be nightmare weather weekend, and we didn't suffer 1 minute of traffic problems due to weather, because we've got an awesome driver who just navigated around parts of the country, just avoided where we knew it was shit, and it was brilliant. And then we did Leeds, which was a bit of a shame. You will hear me talk about that in the interview. It wasn't as busy as it should have been or could have been. Sorry, just got unplugged for a minute there. So yeah, you'll hear more of that with my discussion with Dan. But it was just so much fun, and I'm not sure when we're going to be doing anything like that again, because basically I need to take some time off from playing live, and we need to work on this album. 7 songs demoed. We need at least another 3 or 4. Then we need to record. Then we need to work on them more. Then we need to record them, and then we need to find out how we're going to release it. So it really is going to be interesting how we move forward with this. So next year is going to be quite an odd year and very quiet on the live front. So there you go. Nothing booked for next year, other than we've got a festival in Portugal on January the 6th. And other than that, we have no live shows booked for 2018 at all. So there you go. And I did my first ever spoken word / Talking Bollocks live in the Sanctuary Bar in Burnley. That was 2 days ago. It was quite kind of bizarre, because I was going to go straight home over to Yorkshire for Christmas after the Burnley show. That was on the Friday. Thursday morning, I got an email replying to an email I sent 2 months ago saying, "Yeah, you can have an interview with Fish." I was like, "Oh my god!" So all of a sudden, I had to hurriedly book a travel lodge up near the Burnley show. So I drove up for that, which is 236 miles. Drove up for that, did the gig, then got up 8:30 the following morning, having been kept awake for a good part of the night by fucking dickheads in another room. And I couldn't track down the room, so I couldn't bang on the fucking door. God, what anyway. So then did 236 miles in that morning, and then went and interviewed Fish. That was yesterday. And today I'm going to go and see him. I'm still knackered from the tour. I'm knackered from all the driving, but it's been great. And the show was wonderful. It was very small. I like to think of it as a small select audience. Without doubt, it would have been cool to have more people there, but without doubt, everybody enjoyed it, which was a real buzz for me. I did 1 hour and 47 minutes, which I'm sure won't surprise any of you who know how much I like the sound of my own voice. No one left. Everybody stayed. Everyone came up and said how much they'd enjoyed it, which was a huge buzz for me. And I will definitely be doing more. Bug local promoters if you want me to come to town, because I'd love to do it. I really would. Wherever you are, I am going to try and do some more of that this year as well, because if there's not going to be any Acid Rain shows, it would be good to get out and at least do, maybe even try like a mini spoken word tour. That would be cool. The trouble is that Friday, Saturday, Sunday is hard enough getting people out their houses to go and see bands. So it's, it might mean doing midweek gigs, and midweek gigs, well, there's a reason why they're not well attended. So I don't know. There's a few things I've got to try and address there, but I will try and get out and do more. So what else has been going on? I do have some notes. Oh yeah, obviously I went to the Return to Roots tour show. First band that I saw was Insomnium, who were fucking awful, dead on their feet. A more aptly named band I could not think of. I sent a tweet out while they were on, basically tweeted at them, and I just put 2 words for your performance: Pro Tools, and a little emoji of hands clapping. And I said, if I'm wrong, call me on it. I've heard nothing. It was obvious Pro Tools, drummer playing to a click track, guitarist jumping up and down, playing a solo absolutely perfectly, jumping up and down. I mean, like, album quality perfect. It was pathetic. And then the other end of the scale, Overkill came on and took the roof off. Fucking brilliant. Bobby is the consummate, front man, absolute legend, was brilliant. And I've got to be honest, blew Return to Roots away, I have to say. Although they were much better than when I saw them last. Max was on form, playing guitar a lot more than he had been. But I think that might be to the fact that Mark Rizzo had left the tour. So maybe he knew he had to put more of a show on. And he was great. And they were good. No doubt in that. They were good. But just, Overkill just blew it away. And one last thing to talk about really is the Holy Terror box set that I've got 5 discs, a DVD and 4 CDs, $14.99 that cost me from base.com. Absolutely brilliant. I think it's gone up to $17.49 now, but still worth every penny of your money. That's base.com. Definitely worth paying them a visit. That box set is £20 on Amazon, and then you've got to pay for postage. Base.com is free postage, so it's got to be done. I'd always recommend checking them out as opposed to Amazon anyway, especially if you're buying physical product, because it's free postage on base.com, and that goes for whatever, if you're just buying a single CD, it's free postage. So definitely do that. And I'm not going to ramble on too much, because as I say, these are Christmas specials, and it's really all about it's all about the interviews, and I've got lots of them. This is part 1. This is going to be Dan from Reanimator and Godless, formerly of the Metal Sucks podcast, now of the Metal podcast. He's been on a few times, so you know the dude, and you know that me and him always have a right old chat. But first up, I've literally just got off the phone from him. And this interview is so fresh out the can that my living room coffee table is still drying out. What am I talking about? Well, you're about to hear now. It'll all make sense after you listened to me and Dan, Cancer Killer Man.
Hello.
Hello there.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, thank you, mate. I'm all right.
Good. Well, it's been nice talking to you.
Yeah, later. Good chat.
Yeah, good to catch up.
Yeah, man. How's it going then?
Yeah, not bad, mate. I can't believe that that both you and I were playing Leeds this time. Well, not this time, but we were heading to Leeds this time last week.
I know you shared the photo of the Glasgow gig yesterday, didn't you? And I was like, is that already a fucking week ago?
Yeah.
Mad. Yeah. Good times though. I fucking loved that.
Oh mate, it was a good laugh, wasn't it?
It was a really good laugh. I loved the entire thing. It was great. So yeah, man.
So have you done many tours?
No, to be honest. We've done it like I've done it quite a few times where we're like, with my own band, where we've had like a gig booked in every weekend for like quite a few weeks on the trot, like a good couple of months or whatever, but we've not done too many. We might have done one or two where we've done 2 nights in a row or whatever, but that's the closest thing I've gotten to doing like 3 in a row. Like, so that's, you know what I mean? And as I say, like, I think I might have said to you, when we do them, we just sort of, like, when we did it, like, last weekend, we turned up at 3 each time, and we spent a good amount of time sound checking and went for dinner and all this stuff. We usually just tip up as it opens, quick line check, and then get on the stage. So it's a lot less structured when we do it than it was with you lot last weekend. So it was quite cool seeing it from a different perspective, and that, like, almost seemed professional.
Yeah, we were in danger of being professional, weren't we?
I know.
We did. It was, but yeah, I mean, that's usually the way it rolls. You know, you get to the venue, load in as soon as you can, sound check as soon as you can, and then try and find somewhere half decent to go and have some dinner. Yeah, and it usually ends up being a McDonald's. Well, yeah, there is that.
Yeah. But no, it was fun. I really enjoyed it. Even just being on the road, just like me and Kev had a real good laugh each day, just in the van and everything. So, and like when we was driving up to Scotland and that was fucking gorgeous. Some of the scenery up there and that. So
yeah.
Man. Yeah.
It was. There was some amazing scenery. I was just looking back at some videos that we recorded, and it looks spectacular.
Yeah, it does. I got a few photos and stuff like that, and I don't usually like taking photos of the countryside, but it was just some gorgeous stuff.
It was, wasn't it? I mean, it's and the time of year as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the snow just sort of fucking topped it off nicely, didn't it? Actually.
I was looking at some videos. I was looking at some videos today because I'd 31 videos on my phone to upload.
Did you?
Well, we do a lot of filming when we're out. It's probably mainly me and Paul.
Right.
And because we always make sure we've got as much footage as possible for a tour doc.
Right.
And this was only 3 days, so there's not going to be too much, but he's still got a fair amount, and there's just all the fucking stupidness that goes on, you know.
Right. Yeah. I'd like to see that.
Oh, well, don't you worry, mate. Did you see the last one?
I don't think I did actually. No, I didn't know if you did.
I'll send you a link of the one we did in the summer. The one we did from April, which it's over an hour long.
Is it?
But the thing is, having toured with us as well now, it'll kind of click a bit more because you know what each of us are like.
Yeah, how shit goes down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how shit goes down. Yeah. It's got to be done basically. But we've also got. Did you get your set filmed at Glasgow?
We did, yeah. He sent us it. I can't remember if we shared it on the Facebook page or not. He definitely sent us it.
Yeah, we're keeping. Paul has downloaded that whole file, and we're just going to get as much footage from Glasgow as possible and intersperse it from different angles as well.
Okay,
but keeping that 4K soundtrack, so it should sound pretty kick-ass, man.
Nice.
Yeah,
good idea. You could make a pretty decent documentary out of that, actually, couldn't you?
Well, the thing is that we were thinking about doing that, but the thing is, there's always that thing where some people want to watch the documentary bits, and some people want to watch the live show, and if you put the two together, you basically end up with neither party being happy.
Right.
So,
fair point.
So we just find it better to do a doc separately, and then we'll do the live show separately as well.
Okay. Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
Yeah.
But so it's been a funny old year for you, hasn't it?
It has. It's been a bit mad. Yeah. It seems weird. Like it seems like it was such a long time ago, but then when people ask me about it, and I'm like, I'm 6 months in remission or whatever, and I'm like, shit, was that only 6 months ago? It seems like it's weird. It kind of feels like it was 20 years ago in some parts, but then in other parts it kind of seems like it's yesterday. Like I had another checkup on Monday. And as soon as I walked in, I was like, I spent so much time in this fucking place. You know what I mean? And like the smells of it and everything. And yeah, it's some of it's still, it feels raw still, even though when I think about it, it seems like that it was a separate thing and like dimensional almost. So I think it's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
No, it's understandable because it's understandable. It feels well. I mean, when did we do the first podcast? It was just after you kind of sort of got diagnosed, wasn't it?
Right, so I don't know. Well, they told me, when did they tell me I'd relapsed? I think it might have been November or December sort of time.
Yeah.
And then I think that's when I relapsed, and then I had to do all the biopsies again after that to see like how far along it was and everything. So I did them through like December and January. So it might have, it might have been, it will have been this coming up to like this time last year, I guess.
Yeah. So we would have get. So I think so. I must have got you on first podcast around February time, something like that.
Right. Was that the first podcast?
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you what. I'll open my podcast app while we're talking, and I'll see if I can figure it out because it's going to annoy the shit out of both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But
yeah, it has been a bit mad. Like just everything that's happened since that as well. I've sort of got my head down and got on with a lot of shit that I feel like I could have done if I hadn't spent the first half of this year doing the chemo. So yeah, man. Yeah, it's been like the most. It's like it's just been in the extremes the entire time. Like the shittest bit and the best bits as well, sort of thing. So
yeah. Because it has been like that, hasn't it? It's been a real up and down year for you.
It really has. Yeah, it really has. I mean, yeah, I got a new job. Like I did, I went and I actually applied for this job. I won't talk about it too much because the really where I'm working now is really thingy about security and all this stuff. Like not. That sounds really that sounds mysterious, doesn't it? But about not letting too many things get traced back to you and everything and all this stuff. And
well, let's just say it's another part of the prison service, and
it is, yeah.
You can't talk too much about it.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But I actually applied for that last year, and then I got through all the pre-assessment stuff, and then they asked me to go to the assessment thing, which was I had an interview, a written exam, and a group sort of exercise in one morning, which was exhausting. I had to travel up to Newcastle for that. But so before, I got onto that, and then I relapsed, so I had to pull out of it. So I thought that was right, that's done. That's completely out the window. I'll just look for whatever I fancy when I'm settled down or whatever. And then as soon as I got the all clear again, and a couple of weeks later, I got an email saying we're doing another intake and we've still got all your pre-assessment stuff on file if you fancy going for this one. I was like, fucking hell, yeah. So, yeah, I went and did all the assessment thing for that and got on it. And, yeah, so that was what was it, a month or two? The assessment thing was a month or two after I did the last round of chemo. So, there's actually one of the women who interviewed me I'm working with now, and I've had to mention, all the cancer shit and all that. And she's like, oh, I can't believe it was that soon, before the assessment and everything. I was like, yeah, my hair had literally only just grown back before I went for this assessment, and all this, she couldn't believe it. But, yeah, so there's that, and then obviously recorded an album with 13, started recording the EP with Reanimator, did the tour with you lot. Yeah, it's just been a bit mad. It's just been manic, and but I'm enjoying it.
Well, let's face it, there's more positives in there than negatives. The only negative really is the cancer. Everything else has been
exactly.
been positive.
And even the cancer stuff, I got out of it. I came through it. It was fucking sad. Like, I'm meeting. I've met quite a few people who, when they get introduced to me or whatever, and some people will mention the cancer stuff, and there's been quite a few people who've lost people to it and that. So I met somebody this weekend, and so I don't know why my mate introduced me to him, and then he started telling this bloke about what had happened and everything with me. I don't know why he told him that, but like this bloke was just like, I'm really glad to hear that there's some positives to come out of it because I've lost my wife and my son to that shit. I'm like, fucking hell. And this bloke, he'd lost his wife very, very recently, so I think they brought him out to try and, you know, give him a good time sort of thing. Yeah. But so it's a bit mad.
Well, that is when we by the way, first podcast was January.
That was it, right?
Yeah. Did you have sort of talk to anybody on the tour who'd been following your progress or anything?
No, not really. A couple of people, because obviously Kev mentioned it because he had that charity bucket for cancer research, didn't he?
Oh, the one that we cut the hole in the bottom and siphoned off all the money.
Yeah, which was a smart idea, I think.
Absolutely.
I'm a bit disappointed for not thinking of it myself sooner. Because obviously Kev mentioned it every night, so a couple of people afterwards came and said, "Oh, I'm glad to hear you got through it and everything," but nobody mentioned the podcast or anything.
Well, it's funny you should say that because one of the people that you spoke to was a Bollacker, and he's got some questions for you, which we'll do in the Patreon section of the interview.
Nice one. Yeah,
but it's. I mean, it's something. It's worth mentioning on stage, you know. Even if it's just
on the heartstrings.
I was just going to say the sympathy. Oh, fucking hell, this lot of shit. Oh, he's survived cancer twice. Oh, they're not bad then. You know?
Yeah, so I think that's sometimes the only way we can guarantee a fucking crowd, isn't it? I might have to start mentioning it at 13 gigs more.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe change your name to you know, Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah, Captain Cancer was one of them, I think.
Cancer killer.
Yeah, Cancer Killer.
Yeah, definitely. Dan the Cancer Killer, man. Yeah, definitely.
Man.
So I look, really boring question, but did you have a favourite show of the three?
I don't know, because there was good things for each of them. I think Glasgow was probably my favourite one partly because of Manchester. Obviously, with my
your gear
guitar issues, fucking hell, I was furious. I'm not like a rock star type, but it's the first time I've wanted to boot an amp off stage. I really did want to put my fucking foot through it. So I was really disappointed with myself for that. But the crowd for Manchester was great. So there was that, and then so I think Glasgow had a decent crowd. We got a couple of mosh pits and stuff like that, and obviously it sold out as well, didn't it? So I think Glasgow was the best one, and then Leeds was great as well, to be fair, and I really liked the venue. It was just a smaller crowd, wasn't it? But so I think Glasgow would probably. I liked the venue in Glasgow as well. It was dirty, it was dingy, and I liked that.
As soon as I walked in and my feet started sticking to the floor, and I was like, "That's how you know you're in a proper fucking music venue."
Yeah, you're home.
Yeah. So, you're fucking stuck to the floor. It's fucking horrendous. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. You can see the toilets from the stage and you can smell them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one shitter for the whole fucking venue.
Yeah. What about you? Did you have a favourite one?
Glasgow, I think, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It was just because it was sold out. It was it was fucking rammed. They went mental. I mean, don't get me wrong, Manchester was great as well. Leeds was just such a shame that basically, the promoter just didn't do his fucking job.
And that is shit.
Sent out his first tweet about the gig 10:30 Sunday morning. So
really?
I'm probably just fucking repeating all this. I'm probably going to go on about this in the podcast in general. But right. Yeah, I mean, and in my opinion, when it comes like that, fucking no tweets is better than one tweet, because one is like rubbing your nose in it, like you did know, you know, and we weren't on any of the running order posters, that say what's coming up, and none of our tour of the North posters were up in the venue.
No.
Shit. Well, the first thing I did when I got to the oh shit! Oh fuck! I'll have to call you back.
All right, mate.
Cheers.
Clint.
Fucking hell.
What did you do, you dildo?
I had a pint of water on my coffee table, and I crossed my legs, kicked it over. It's fucking soaked. It soaked my my tablet.
Fucking hell.
I know. A load of books I've got on my coffee table, which obviously just for show. Obviously just for show. I mean, who the fuck reads books?
I know. Are they leather bound by any chance?
Oh, of course, yes. Some with human skin.
Good lad.
Well,
proper metal.
Yeah, absolutely. Some are for summoning Satan, and some are tips on making a good souffle.
Nice.
Yeah, I like
to borrow some of them.
I like to rock and roll with the yin and the yang.
Yeah. Bit of flambéed ear. I'm all right with that.
What a fucking idiot. Honestly, so now, as I talk to you now, I've got everything is lying all over the front room, drying out.
You got them all on your radiators.
Yeah, I've got. I had to go for the tablet and just basically make sure that fucker didn't get any, didn't get any water in any inputs or anything like that. So
apparently you're supposed to stick it in a load of rice, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, I've accidentally switched the fucker on now, so you'll get a live update as to whether it's fucked or not. And I'm pretty sure it's fucked, because it just came on for a second then and went off again. So
did it get proper drowned?
No, not too bad. Oh, hang on. Right, we're booting up. This is a fucking interesting interview, isn't it?
The tension is palpable.
Oh, we've got the home screen.
Yes.
Putting in password. Come on, here we go. And
God, there's no start to the excitement, is there?
Yeah, honestly, riding the crest of a slump on this interview. Fucking hell, there it is. It's back.
Nice. Good lad.
Yeah, fucking hell. Great. I've turned it on so I can shut it down. That's fascinating. Where the fuck were we? About the
promoters, weren't we?
Yeah, the Bollocks promoter. That was So there was a reason for that. I mean, the first thing I did was get off the bus and walk straight up to the guy who's representative for the promoter, and basically just listed off all the things that they hadn't done.
I saw you kicking off, and I was like, oh, it just got something to say.
yeah. It was like I was just pointing at the posters, going, "Why aren't we on that? Why aren't we on that?
Yeah.
Where are the posters?" One tweet has gone out. I just said it's fucking, and I ended up by saying to him that every single person that comes through that door today is down to me on social media.
Yeah, definitely.
And
we've had this so many times, and I've said it so many times myself. It seems like there's so many people out there now who they like the idea of being a promoter more than they like promoting, sort of thing. Don't they? You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, it's a he's a proper promoter, and just don't know why. So I mean, they promoted other gigs on the tour. That's all I'm going to say. So
right.
It's just fucking weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, what's done is done. But it was still a good night.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. It was a good laugh afterwards. Actually, I thought, especially with the cookies, fucking Chinese wine and stuff.
Oh man,
it was great.
With a fucking lizard in it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He said,
it wasn't that bad. I keep telling you, it was actually quite nice.
Well, it was.
Considering there was.
Yeah, considering there was a dead reptile in it. Yeah, it's the nicest alcohol that I've ever tasted that contained a dead reptile
with a carcass in it.
Yeah.
Could tasted worse.
well, we went for a little curry as well, didn't we? But it's a shame that we couldn't all sort of like get there at the same time and get on one big table or anything like that.
Yeah. You see all the proper old school tour photos of all the bands that, like, I've seen loads of like they reanimate a lot with Dark Angel and all that, and Candlemass and stuff. And
well, we did it on the comeback tour when it was us, Zentrix and Shrapnel. We all went for a curry in Belfast. Which was awesome. I mean, we all had a right laugh. But no, it was cool because also you were all able to hang around because Leeds wasn't far for any of you going home. Yeah, definitely. So that was quite cool. I did enjoy. I think I enjoyed that one. As I said, there was different things of it, like that for each gig. Even with Manchester, with the fucking amp playing up, there was just watching you guys. I thought it was fucking class in Manchester. You had an ace crowd in Manchester, and that dude stage diving and fucking his shoulder up. Have you seen the pictures on Facebook?
I have. It's great. I was like, that is fucking brilliant. I was like, good lad.
Fucking mental. I mean, the thing is, it's like he just got up, put his arms in the air, like, "Way, look at me," and then just went straight off. And it was just like, fucking hell.
Yeah, man.
But it was, and of course, after the Manchester show was just a little bit weird. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. I wanted to stick around for that, but nobody else did apparently. Me and Cookie was like, "Fuck it, yes, let's do it," and everyone else was like, "I want to go home."
I know. Well, I don't know if I told you, but I was talking to the manager of the Rebellion, and she was telling us that it's turning into a fetish club now, and we were like, right, okay. Right. Just as a 6'2" bloke dressed as Snow White walks past, and then she turns to me and she goes, "You've got an odd crowd, haven't you?"
What?
I know, and I thought, well, fucking hell, the bar is quite high. The bar is quite high for this woman, and she thinks our crowd is weird. Fucking hell,
Jesus.
So
I wouldn't mind sticking around for that, like looking at all the giant rubber fists or whatever they had.
I can't say I look that closely. I've got to be honest.
No, I don't. Maybe that's a naive assumption.
Well, Paul came back with all the fucking details. He's like, "Well, you're allowed to do this, you're allowed to do that, but you're not allowed to do that, and you're not allowed to do that." But you're allowed to. I was like, "Yeah, all right, we're still not staying." I know.
I was well up for it. I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
But we would have all looked totally fucking normal. No, everybody would have just given us a wide berth.
No, we'd have looked weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't. Well, yeah, we would have looked weird because there'd have been 10 fucking straight blokes all dressed in their normal clothes.
Yeah, so jeans and biker jackets.
Yeah, we'd have been the odd ones out.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, bizarre. So did you travel with Kev every day then?
I did, yeah. We travelled in his van.
Right, cool.
It was alright, to be fair. Like we did it before because it was just me and Kev. We did it when we went to Norwich, and we had Jack in the van as well. And that was uncomfortable, and just the three of us just being sat in the front of Kev's van.
Oh,
that was uncomfortable. But
I was going to say, why is like, you know, is Jack a wanker? It's just uncomfortable.
That as well. He kept touching my fucking thighs, and I was like, "Mate, are you married?" And I'm just not into it. It's not for me. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. So he's very persuasive, is Jack. Let's
leave that there then, shall we?
But yeah, I didn't mind it. I think, and especially, I think I annoyed Kev a couple of times because I just nodded off on the way back every time. And apparently I snore.
There's nothing worse than having a fucking sidekick riding shotgun who fucking falls asleep.
Yeah, I know. Every fucking time.
Oh man, I get that with comedians sometimes, and I'm like, I'm not a fucking member of your family. I'm not a cab driver. Fucking wake up and endure the journey with me.
Yeah. I tried to, but I just like sleeping, man.
Well, you've had a tiring year, dear.
Yeah. So. That's my excuse still.
So what's on the cards for you for next year? Bit of cancer again, or are you going to give it a miss?
I'm thinking about it. I'm kicking the idea around. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I'm like, because I'm doing this job, but I'm training like for the next year or so. I've got to do a qualification in it as well, so that's going to take a year.
Wow.
There's like a vocational thing and all this stuff, and professional qualification. So that's going to take a year to do. On top of having like the actual work as well. So I think that's going to be pretty intense. But like, as I say, we're recording the album with 13, so we've booked a date to launch it in the first couple of months of next year. So I think the focus there will be like getting the money together to get the discs printed and then like getting a video done and all that shit. So
yeah,
that'll be. I think the first couple of months of next year will be pretty full on with 13 as well. And then obviously we've got we got as far as finishing the guitars off for Reanimator. I think I've got another guitar solo to do. And then we obviously got to crack on with the bass and vocals. So that'll be the next thing as well for that. So I've got a few things lined up. I'm guessing most of that's going to take place in the first couple of months, like band music wise and everything. So I ain't really got out plan for the rest of the year after that. So I'm sure something will crop up. But,
well, needless to say,
yeah.
if you guys get a London gig, or if you want a London gig, let me know. And if you get one, you obviously can crash here, which will save you some accommodation, if nothing else.
Oh, nice one. Cheers, man.
That's all right.
I would definitely love a London gig. I don't know where we'd play with 13. I don't think Camden would have us. But like Underworld or whatever. But like definitely, I'd love to do Underworld again with the Reanimator. So
yeah. I think. I mean, it might be probably be best starting at something like the Dev, which is
right. Okay.
We played there. We played there when our Hammerfest appearance went nuts up because of the traffic.
Right.
And you just play in the corner. I mean, it's free. It's a free entry pub, but
right.
it's a legendary metal pub.
Okay. I think I've heard of it actually. Yeah.
You'll have a crowd in it, and I know the promoter.
Right.
I know him really well.
Right.
I'm on Facebook with him, so I can have a word if you want.
Yeah, please, man. Yeah, definitely. That'd be great. Yeah, we've got a Birmingham gig with 13 in February as well. Actually, it's one.
I meant for 13, mate. I meant for 13.
Right. Yeah. Cheers, man. But yeah. So,
cool.
Yeah, we need to get some stuff in the diary and that. So.
Do a London album launch. Launch your album in fucking London, mate.
That'd be really fucking cool, actually.
You know, we'll see if we can get some press going and get some, get some people down there and so we can make some things happen for you.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. We'll get some more lanyards made. I thought that was one of the coolest fucking things about last weekend was we had fucking Access All Areas lanyards.
Hey.
I was like proper geeked out over that.
It's got to be done though, hasn't it? It's got to be done.
Too right.
You know, and none of this wearing it round your neck shit. Oh, that's Ramateurs, that is.
Fucking belt like a proper mosher.
That's it. Round the belt like a proper rock hero.
Yeah, too right.
No, it's well, I always get those done because it's kind of like it's not a tour if you haven't got a lanyard. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and to be fair, that's one of these things. Like I've got a box that's just filled with cool shit, like just like old photos or whatever, and that'll stay in that will. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. I've got all mine hung up in my kitchen on a cork board, and they're
nice.
they're mounting up at the moment. But it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I liked that dude at the Leeds gig who had his one from the back in the day as well.
Oh, fucking grandad, yeah. Dear
yeah.
I thought
that was pretty cool.
Honestly, he could get in anywhere. Like I said at the time, we used to offer to put him on the guest list every time we were in the area, and he'd be like, "Don't worry, I'll get myself in." He always got in. Always
Good
got
lad.
in with some homemade fucking Acid Rain backstage pass. It was fucking ridiculous.
That's great.
But
awesome.
There was some characters. There were some characters crawled out of the woodwork for the Leeds gig. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There seems
to be a few people who like reckon that who'd seen like who'd seen you like Rihanna and sort of Acid Rain from back then, and
yeah.
Well,
my mum was one of them.
Yeah, that was fucking mental. I sort of walk in and I was like, and then you said it was there, and I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. And she sat right next to the fucking sound desk, and she was loving it. That was ace. That was.
Well, she knows all the tunes. You know what I mean?
Oh, does she?
Well, she was there. She was there from the beginning, and she likes metal.
Yeah.
You know, her favourite band's Metallica. So
right, good lass.
Yeah, exactly. So
that was really cool.
All my doing, obviously. But look, it's something I suppose. I mean, we've talked. Look, I'm talking to everybody about their highlights of the year and stuff, and obviously yours is number one, touring with us. Number two, beating cancer.
Yeah. Obviously.
Obviously.
Priorities.
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking. I bet I mentioned it on previous podcasts. I thought, well, look, get yourself fit, and we're going to be doing some dates at the end of the year or something like that. And I'm sure I mentioned that on a podcast. So it was just really,
you did. Yeah,
it was fucking cool that we actually made it happen.
Yeah, actually happened. Yeah.
I mean,
I absolutely loved it.
Well, if you think in January we were talking on the podcast, and you just you were going through your first bouts of chemo, and in December we were on the road together. It's it's insane.
Yeah, it is mad. As I say, just going from that place to the extremes of it is just it is mad. Just how much shit can change in a year, or what can happen.
Yeah,
it's mad.
So what about any musical highlights? Any albums that have come out this year that have kind of made you go like fucking hell? Yeah, that's very good.
I don't know. Like, I'm a bit sort of, what's the word?
Difficult to please.
Say that again.
Difficult to please.
Yeah, difficult to please.
Hard to impress.
Hard to impress, I think, and I'm a bit. Me and especially metal music are going through a bit of a rough patch, I think. But I don't know. There's not much of it that comes out, especially the metal stuff, that really fucking gets me going. And like Queens of the Stone Age, one I think I mentioned to you before. It was just before their album came out. Metallica are my favourite band. My next favourite band after Metallica are Queens of the Stone Age. And their album came out, and as much as I thought it was good, like, it was great. In fact, you've got Songs for the Deaf and like Clockwork just didn't quite get up there again, sort of thing. So I don't know. I can't think of any off the top of my head that have really sort of where I've been like, this is fucking amazing. So I don't know. I'm struggling a bit at the minute with all that.
Well,
I'm a bit. Sorry, go on.
No. I was going to say. I know what you mean about Queens of the Stone Age, because I think Songs of the Deaf is an all-time classic. But for me, I haven't liked anything they've done other than that. So I'm always disappointed by a new By a new
I think you find that with a lot of metalheads and stuff like that. Like, that's the one that metalheads really like.
Yeah.
I'm just like looking through my iPod to see if I can like find anything that really. I mean, to be fair, I've actually been listening to a lot of just like blues stuff recently. And
gay.
Just, like rock and
gay. I didn't realise you had such a varied taste, because like 13's fucking heavy as hell, and you're in Reanimator and all the rest of it, and I didn't realise you had such a broad, varied taste.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I'm trying to think. Yeah, I've got like a playlist of like blues and acoustic stuff, and there's a guy I think I came across while I was doing the chemo called Sean James. And he's just this American dude, and he's just got he's got a class voice, in fact, and he's got like a backing band and stuff that he does stuff with, and it's, I don't know. There's actually a couple of bands. I'm waiting for High on Fire's new album to come out. I'm a huge fan of them.
Right.
Apparently they're recording, or they're about to start recording. I think they're planning on releasing an album next year.
I think their album is all done. It's waiting.
Oh, is it?
I heard them interviewed on the Metal Podcast, like friends of mine, Chuck and Godless, do, and
right.
And they were saying that like that's that's all in the bag. And I think, if I've got my bands right, I think the first single from it's already out.
Oh, is it? I need to have a look for that then. Matt Pike from High on Fire is another absolute fucking hero of mine. I love him. There's an album, Mastodon.
Yeah, I thought.
That was a good album. That.
Do you know what? I was going to mention that and I forgot. Yeah, that's one for me as well.
That one. Yeah,
that's one for me.
That was a good album.
It's great.
Yeah.
We played it. That was our album of the tour when we did the tour in April. That was our album of the tour. It was just everybody was just all of us were into it, playing it. It was just fun. Whenever I play that album now, I think of that tour. But yeah, just a stunning collection of songs.
It is, isn't it? And I always loved the tones and stuff and the different the musician the instruments and stuff. They just seem to use stuff that's really out of the box, and that's actually been a little bit of a thing that we did on with the 13 thing. Like we used there's like a little 3-minute sort of acoustic instrumental on the new 13 album, and it's got it's called, what is it called, a Zilfros? It's a Chinese sort of guitar type thing, and it's got that on it. And yeah, we messed about with a couple of like orchestral synths and stuff, because obviously we can't afford to have a proper orchestra in there, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But so I think some of that, like just having the bollocks to try different things out that wouldn't necessarily be in metal albums. I think some of that comes from Mastodon.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and so the albums, so the 13 albums all done then.
Oh yeah, that got finished in. When did that get finished? In October. So as I say, the main thing that's holding us off getting it out there now at the minute is just getting the money together to get it printed and everything.
Well, if you
we just do all of it ourselves. So
fire it over, and if it's all right with you, I'll put a couple of tracks on the Christmas special. Yeah,
nice one. I think that should be all right. I'll double check with my lads because they get a bit precious about it. But
no, look, I know the feeling, mate. I know the feeling.
Yeah.
But at least send me the fucking album, you lazy bastard.
Yeah, I will do. Don't worry.
What do you mean? You will do. Don't worry. It's been finished since October and it's December. You fucking bastard.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually quite looking forward to hearing like the stuff that you're gonna do as well. To be honest, I love especially Plan of the Damned. I fucking love that when he was playing it live. It was so heavy, and I love the middle section, the fast bit. I think that's fucking class.
It's bizarre because that's become, and thank you by the way, but that's it's really weird because every audience has started reacting to that the same way, which is during the heavy slow bit, everyone's just fucking sort of just banging their heads, and then it's this is not a test, and the pits just go fucking mental every night.
It's really fucking cool that everyone knows when that bit's coming in, and everyone knows to shout it, and everyone knows to kick off. And it's pretty much a brand new song of yours, isn't it? So it's really fucking cool that they're reacting to it like that. I'm well impressed with that one.
Oh, thanks, mate. No, it's well, yeah, it was our comeback song, so we obviously had a lot of confidence in it, but I mean the second new song we knew we had to lay down a bit of thrash because only half of the Plan of the Damned is really a thrash tune, but it just gives a little taster of the kind of stuff that we're going to be. That we're going to be putting out. Although we didn't get a chance because I've got like 7 songs on my phone that 7 demos of the new stuff, and we just never seem to get time to. Well, we didn't get time to sit down and do this. Never mind sit down and listen to some music. No.
Yeah.
But it's weird, isn't it? There's always something to do, isn't there?
Yeah. It was. I can only remember like one minute or like maybe one little part of it where I was just sat down with my feet up playing with my phone, and that was when we just arrived at Manchester. But that didn't last very long, and it was like, right, sound check, and right, let's go for food, and you're busy quite a lot. And that's it's weird because like you hear a lot about bands like being bored on tour and stuff like that, and I don't know, it's just because it was a new novel thing for me. I didn't find any of it boring at all. I just loved hanging out with everyone and just being there. I just fucking loved it. So
yeah, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's well, also it was only 3 dates. I mean, if you do that for fucking 3 months,
Yeah. I can imagine it does
yeah,
get a bit tiring,
gonna wear
especially
you
like
down.
if you've got families and stuff. And
Yeah, so it's
I
all
don't have any of that shit to worry about.
absolutely. So it's all right for us single dudes, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and some even need to bring their partners along, you know, in rare cases.
Yeah.
But no, well, look, let's wind it up there because I've got a few things to ask you for Patreon subscribers. But
Okay,
for the time being, it's been great, mate, and thank you.
It's been awesome.
Thank you as always for coming on.
That's all right. Thank you for having me on for the entire year. In fact, it's been fucking great for me, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, great. Well, look, I'm
cool having something to vent to.
I'm glad that you've enjoyed it, and you know, I know from comments on social media and people coming up to me wherever I am. You know, your story's been a real inspiration for people over this last year. So
cool.
I think anyone listening to this
you.
over the Christmas period who's thinking that, like, you know, they've got a shitty year ahead, they can use the example of having cancer in January and touring in December as, you know, anything's possible.
Yeah, too fucking right.
All right, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers, dude.
Thank you very much.
Not at all.
Cheers.
So that was Dan and I having a right old chat there, which continues on the Patreon section. We covered so much there. It was awesome. I really enjoyed catching up with him about the tour. It's weird. It's amazing how little time that you have when you're on the road to sit down and have a chat. Like I said, you know, I fully intended to do that interview on the road. Made perfect sense. Of course it didn't. It made absolutely no sense, because you just always, you know, need to be somewhere else, and invariably by the time they were sound checking, we'd have gone out for dinner, and then when we get back, they're about to go on stage, but they're playing for 45 minutes, and you know, you get to watch a bit of them, and then it's kind of like you start getting ready for your own gig. Although I have to say, at Manchester, it was Zentrix, then Reanimator, then us, and I watched the majority of Zentrix and Reanimator, and it was really cool to see the respectful way that the Acid Rain crowd were kind of like, you know, checking them out, and you know, gave both bands a really, really good reception, and then we came on and they just went fucking mental, as Acid Rain fans have the tendency to do. Yeah, it was really, really cool talking to Dan there, and I'm doing this straight away, so I'm not going to. I doubt I'm going to be able to get any 13 songs on these, but hopefully I will preview those as soon as they want to actually get those tunes out. I will make sure I get some on the podcast for you all to listen to, and yeah, so that will be an exclusive for this podcast. You better believe it. So without further ado, I'm going to steam straight into the next interview, because you have got tons of content to get through this Christmas. I always like to provide you with a Christmas special and 2 parts and lots to listen to, because I realise not everybody has the whole of Christmas off, but some of us do. But even if you don't, you can end up kind of sat there going, I'm bored, Christmas telly shit, although why you'd be watching Christmas TV and not fucking streaming stuff and watching Netflix and stuff like that. You've got no excuse to be not watching very good television, unless of course, you know, you've got relatives over who really want to watch Morecambe and Wise for the 100th time. If you're not in the UK, I genuinely don't know whatever fucking shit comedy is on at Christmas where you are. I don't know if the Christmas James Bond film for the 100th time is a thing in whatever country you're listening to in this, but it certainly is in the UK. But I'm sure we all get those fucking bullshit countdowns, top 100 of this year, and you get all sorts, and they're just ridiculous. You know, top 100 celebrity mishaps. Fuck off. Why the fuck would you sit and watch that? I mean, I'm presuming that you good people, you good Bollocasters, you're not sitting through that shit. Not unless somebody's either A, paying you to, B, forcing you to at gunpoint, or C, you're having to because some form of loved one is a fucking idiot and chews that shit up and likes it. But anyway, I said I wasn't going to ramble too much on these, and I just fucking have. So why don't I shut the fuck up and get on with introducing you to mine and Godless's chat. We always have a good chat. We did an hour for the podcast. I think we've done about half an hour for Patreon, and we ended up jabbering on more. We ended up on the phone on Skype for 2 hours. It was ridiculous, but I could talk to this dude until the end of time and not get bored. So hopefully. What do I mean? Hopefully you'll enjoy it or you won't. I can't fucking control that, can I? Here we are having a chat a couple of weeks ago. Hello there.
Hey, Howard.
How are you?
Better now that you're here.
Yeah. Oh, darling, I feel exactly the same. I was actually just thinking that this is your record-setting 4th appearance on the podcast.
Is it? That's awesome. I'm so I'm proud.
Thank of course. You. You should be thanking me. It's an honour.
It's proud and absolutely.
Humbled, honoured.
Humbled is a very good word. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got to actually. Do you know what? I've got to start by having just a brief lesson with you in how to say the name of this podcast. I've been getting. I got some tweets about yours and Chuck's pronunciation of this podcast. Not being up to scratch.
Bollocks.
I guess that's close. It's bollocks. So it's bollocks. Yeah. Bollocks. Right. Yeah. No, I think you've just about got it. Chuck, however, you need to sit down with him, man.
He's the speaking professional. I don't tell him anything about how to talk.
I don't hold back. I tweeted it. I tweeted him that it's divisive, not divisive. It's like, Jesus Christ, man, we gave you the language. Fucking use it properly.
Totally.
For some reason, Chuck is all at sea when it's like every time he says it differently. And I think he's not found one he's comfortable with yet, or that's approaching being correct. But it's all good. It's all good. I'm really glad to have you here. I've been on the road all day since.
Yeah. So are you staying busy now that you are semi-retired?
Very good. Yeah. Well, I wish I could say I was on the road on the way back from a gig last night and all the rest of it, but I was actually on the road just driving around, visiting sites of a company I'm doing a bit of freelancing for. So. I just work 5 days a month for them, that'll do.
Yeah.
But I'm out 3 nights a week every week, doing gigs and all sorts. So yeah, I'm doing all right. But one of the places I drove through today was Basingstoke.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'd say what, man, it's a lot easier to drive around with a working sat-nav and in the daytime. Honestly, do you remember that time? Just like my phone sat-nav had given up the ghost and we drove around Basingstoke. It must have been at least half an hour.
No, I still refer to it as amazing stuff.
Yeah. There should be a blue plaque on that Mexican restaurant. Godless and H ate here. You know, I can't. I'm sure that's in the works. It's got to be in the works. So right up front, I just wanted to tell you that let's talk about later on. Let's talk about. I will tell you who the hero of mine I met, and I'll also tell you which artist has been in touch about a cover version that we sent them that we've demoed for the new album. So I'll tell you all that. I'll tell you all that later for the Patreon dudes. How have you been? I mean, it's Thanksgiving for you, isn't it?
Well, it was, this past week, but I just worked my ass off. It just don't stop, What are you going to do? It's one of those things I was complaining to my wife the other day. Like, why is it that I still got to learn stuff? Why do I have to learn stuff? At some point, I should be just doing stuff or just telling other people what to do. And instead, I'm spending, the the weekend like learning Facebook ads and how this all works and how to like, no, isn't there some nerd somewhere that I can just turn to and say, build it and then show me how you built it, or build it so that way it runs while you are, jerking off to, whatever anime or whatever it is nerds jerk off to nowadays.
Godless, I've got really bad news for you. To somebody else, you are that nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear. Yeah, you definitely. You need to. What's the word? Delegation. You need to find a junior member and just say.
Delegation is the key to management. My wife she's got 4 interns joining up. Like, they're going to intern for our house starting in January. I'm like, what do you mean? She convinced some college to hook us up with 4 interns. So, because, we're busy, and I get it, but now I'm going to be busy trying to figure out what it is these assholes are going to have to do while I'm not around.
Hang on. You've got 4 interns to just live in slaves?
Starting in January.
And what do they get out of, apart from cleaning your house, what do they get out of their cultural experience?
I'm not sure exactly. Well, we got all sorts of like little businesses and stuff like that we're either have launched, want to launch, or are launching. And so therefore we can kind of go, all right, this week need you to edit this, write that, post this stuff, all that sort of thing. So it depends on the intern, because what we'll do is we'll do the initial interviews and figure out like what is the skill sets for each and what are their interests, and then I'm sure we've got stuff for them to do that would fit whatever those interests are.
Oh, right, okay, cool. So that's a great idea. Live in slaves.
Yeah. I mean, it's the last piece of good advice from the Bible I'm willing to take, right? But see, that's the thing. You talk to any like a Bible apologist, they'll say, "Oh no. See, this is it wasn't slaves he was defending; it was internships."
Yeah. I always my favorite line about the Bible comes from Bill Hicks, and when he said when he said you get these preachers and they say what God meant to say, and he said, "I've never been that confident." Yeah, I just think it's a fucking great line. It really is.
But there's a comic in Austin named Lucas Melendez. Funny ass guy. I think he just writes for TV now and stuff like that. But I saw him stand up once, and he just said, the best. The Bible would make so much more sense if the first line of it was, "You're not going to believe this, but
yeah,
now you're good. Now they can write whatever."
Well, do you know what? It's the same as when you see a Hollywood movie and it starts with, "This film is based on real events," and you go, "Oh, right. So it's a drama with a few facts in there." Or if it says, "This is a true story," you go, "Right, okay. So they're sticking pretty much with the facts."
Yeah.
It should just say at the front, shouldn't it? Some of the this is loosely based on stuff that may have happened that only men were allowed to write about.
Yeah.
But hey, we've managed to get into the what is this? It's like 8 minutes in, people are going to be listening to this over Christmas.
Oh wait, no, we haven't started recording yet, have we?
Yeah, this is all recorded.
No, we got to delete all that. Let's start for real.
That was gold, man. That was fucking.
Not gold.
If you don't want the stuff about your interns, I can chop that out if you want.
No, it's just like I was like multitasking all that. I was not focused or anything. I'm just like putting together my trying to get a little bit more of my best of the year list ready in case that comes up. I'm surfing a little bit, make sure there's no like big stories this year. Of course there were that I can't think of, things like that.
Yeah, but dude, you've just described, you're all over the place and unfocused. You've just described every podcast I've ever done. So, you fit in fine. Dear me. Well, look, it's 9.5 minutes in. We should start talking music. I really think we should keep that stuff. I really do.
All right. Go ahead. I can't think of anything terrible.
Look. You didn't say anything terrible, and ultimately, this is for the Christmas special that will go out. People will be feeling too ill to switch this off. So that's why I always do a shitload of content over Christmas. Just think, there you go, fucking have that. Go on.
As much of an asshole as I am, I'm probably less of an asshole than whatever family members you're spending your Christmas with, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I think we're doing a service. There's going to be people sat there. They got their earbuds in. They got family all around, and they're saying, "Look, I've got to listen to this for work. I am here." And then they're just sitting back and chilling and tuning out the annoying bastards that unfortunately they share DNA with, and we're doing a service.
So we're talking like biggest metal stories of the year. Is that the general gist?
The general gist is whatever you like, mate. You know me, scattergun and unfocused at the best of times. To be honest,
I'm trying to think of like any piece of big good news this year.
Oh, easy, good, not a chance. Bad, fucking shit tons. But to be honest, the way I've pitched it to everybody, and obviously I didn't do a very good job with you, is highlights of the year, as in anything you like. Do you know what I mean? It could be one song, it could be a riff, it could be an album, or a bunch of albums. I'm sure we'll talk about albums that we've both enjoyed this year. A news story, several news stories, whatever. A particularly good shit that you had. Yeah, I know. Everyone for you.
The thing, I guess, when I think of it like good news stories, like I guess like it isn't news when it's good, because it's like nobody in Slayer died this year. Like
that's good news.
Nobody even got bit by anything like bug wise or anything like that. At least that we know of. That's good news.
Yeah, but it's also nothing news, isn't it? It's nothing happening. It's the status quo, same as last year. No more members of Slayer have died. Film at 11. But I guess it's funnily enough, I was thinking the other day. I was thinking about like what would be in my top 5, and I was on the road today. I was thinking about it quite a lot, and I because at one stage I thought, oh, it's been a bit of a thin year, and then I put a top 5 together in about 20 seconds. I was like, yeah, okay, maybe not so thin. I have given that Ema album a go as well. The singer dude from Periphery.
Oh yeah, that's like an interesting album. I wouldn't say that I like love it. I probably will forget it exists in 12 to 18 months, but I've spun it a few times now, and he's got some really interesting ideas.
He has. I preferred them when Trent Reznor did them 20 years ago, but yeah, some of it is just a little bit too derivative of Nine Inch Nails for me.
There is, yes.
Yeah, and I'm a big Nine Inch Nails fan as well. And don't get me wrong, if I had the capabilities, I'd probably do exactly the same. I mean, it's good, and for kids who are into Periphery and only know Nine Inch Nails of the last sort of 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it's cool because they're going to listen to that. They're going to hear that that's a main inspiration for him, and hopefully they're going to go back to the beginning and get the good stuff like the Downward Spiral and Pretty Hate Machine and Broken and stuff like that.
So if there was an H solo album where you're going to like do something completely different from Acid Rain, what would your solo album end up sounding like?
I'm a one-trick pony. I can't even be in another metal band. There's
not like a band that like you listen to and you go, oh man. This is
Well,
different, but...
like, oh man, I'd love to be in that band. I'd love to front that band.
Well, or I, like, oh, I wish I could write music like that, or something like that.
To be honest, if there was any band that I would front, given the chance, that when I listen to and I just think, oh, it's the Descendants.
Descendants, yeah.
Not even a metal band. I think vocally I'd just get found. I'd just get found out in any decent kind of band. Not that Acid Rain isn't a decent band. No, do you know what? That's a really good question. I've never been asked anything like that. I don't like the way you've turned the tables. I honestly don't. I've never had any aspiration. To be honest, it's been hard enough putting Acid Rain back together, and it's been I guess I'm practical. I'm not much of a dreamer. Do you know what I mean? I don't sit around and go, oh, wouldn't that be great? Because if it's anything worth doing, I'll fucking do it.
Right. See, that's always been my thing. Like, that I have a really hard time, like, doing something just for the fun of it. I'm always thinking about, oh, okay, well, how can I make something out of this? I can't just sit down at a poker table and enjoy the conversation around the table. I've got to sit down at a poker table and figure out how to take everybody's money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much should be on your gravestone.
Are you kidding? I'm trying to think how I can monetize that gravestone. There's not going to be any room.
Well, how about there's a British comedian called Kevin Day, and he always said he wanted on his gravestone in a tiny size font, so you have to go right up to it to read it, and it'll just say, "Get off my fucking grave." Which I thought was kind of cool. But by the way, before I forget, the latest podcast that's going to come out this week has Danny Filth in it and on it, and we do talk about poop for a couple of minutes. So I thought that might be
good. I never got there with him.
Yeah, the benefits of having a good shit. Yeah. It's
funny because, like, that was an interview that I really, like, looked forward to. And for me, I always had this impression of Cradle of Filth as being one of those bands that, like, during that era of the mid to late 90s, there was just nobody else. It was just, they ruled. They were the ones whose T-shirts you saw. They were the ones who were out there, doing, keeping the flame alive. All their bands were falling by the wayside. Other bands were sort of lost sonically, etc. Cradle of Filth were, like, still drawing them in, bigger than ever. And so, to me, they're a legendary band, especially for that era. And when we started our conversation with Danny, I immediately launched into, dude, you are, like, the man. And he kind of, like, I could feel him, like, squirming on the other end of the phone.
Yeah.
He's so uncomfortable with that idea.
Well, funnily enough, we sort of touched on that in our chat, and he was very quick to name other bands who were around at the time, or that had influenced them, or other bands that were in the scene that they were a part of. Very, not like me at all. I'd be like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they all owe me. But no, you're right, and I really enjoyed talking to him. We share some mutual friends, and he's one of those weird things where we've never met, which is kind of, and we were supposed to meet the week before. We were supposed to meet about 3 days before the interview and actually do the interview face to face, but he had to pull his interviews because he got an injury. So, but you know what? 2 days after the tour, he rang me at home to do it instead. And that's the sign of the guy, real professional, and right at the end of the interview, gives me an hour of his time and then goes like, oh yeah, sorry again about Friday night. It's like, dude, we've just done an hour. You know, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, it was. Oh well, there you go. There's a highlight. So, what's your what is the most enjoyable interview? What's the interview that's given you this year? This year.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because I was like looking through the episodes that we've done this past year, and it's really, really tough to choose one because there's one that we've had recently that immediately leaps to mind, and then I go, oh man, but there's been a string that I've really enjoyed. But I'll say this.
Hang on. You're not allowed to say Barney. That's a given.
You know what's so funny is that he is a given, but there were a handful of other conversations that I expected this year would also be givens, and they made us work so hard.
Right. Yeah. You mean like Rex?
Oh God.
I just want to rock and roll, man.
What the fuck? But all right, dude. The conversation that kind of blew me away was Heidi of Butcher Babies.
yeah, you're just winding me up now. I agree. I heard it and I was very impressed. And funnily enough, in my last podcast, the word I used to describe the Butcher Babies was, to me, it just sounded insincere. There were and that was the word that I really pigeonholed them with. And then I heard your interview with Heidi, and I thought, right, I'm going to take that back, which I will be doing on this month's podcast. And I am going to take that back because, you know, she talked about some of the lyrics and what songs are about, and I thought, you know what? There's no way that I might think the end product is utter dog shit, but I cannot doubt the sentiment behind it, and I cannot call it insincere.
Yeah, and for me, like all right. So there's a lot of stuff that she was not going to go into depth on, and that's okay. You know, you got to respect wherever her lines are; those are where they are. But there was a lot of stuff that she was willing to talk about with us that I've never seen anywhere else. I've never heard anybody else, you know, in print or in audio or video format. I've never heard her tell these stories before, and it was, you know, it's one of those things that Chuck and I talk about all the time. You know, sometimes it's just being willing to ask the question, and she's got this history with Mormonism and her first marriage and all that stuff that just, it's absolutely mind-blowing what she's gone through. And she was willing to talk about it. And that was just way, way cool.
It was compulsive listening because, funnily enough, when I'd forgotten about the Mormonism, and when you started talking about that, do you know what? It took me straight back to where I was when I was listening to the podcast. It's like, wow, yeah, I remember exactly what I was doing when that part of the interview was rolling, and I also thought it was kind of telling / disappointing that it wasn't picked up on, because you guys like me, occasionally you'll do an interview and it gets picked up by Blabbermouth or something like that, and they stick it out and say, you know, on so and so podcast, you know, this person said that, and I thought it was quite disappointing that nothing like, well, unless I missed it, but nothing like that seemed to happen with it.
Yeah, no, it's funny how, you know, and sometimes like there will be a conversation that we have where I go, oh my goodness, that is an awesome, somebody's going to run with that. And then they'll, instead, like all those sites will grab something else in that conversation that to me I thought was pretty mundane. So I have no gauge for what editors are going to find interesting by any stretch, I guess.
True. Well, who knows what goes on in their minds? I mean, you know, God knows. So I totally get their, you know, the drive is for clicks, and to me, it's like you get a really great story about Heidi from Butcher Babies. You know, let's be frank. You put her picture next to anything, it's gonna get goddamn clicks. And you know, if I were an editor, I'd be just like looking left and right for anything interesting about Heidi or her partner in Butcher Babies, just for an excuse to put the photos up. You know, there's plenty of that anyway. Well, I mean, you know, broken marriages, broken relationships, broken family, abuse, the Mormon religion. I mean, gee, it's a film. It's not just a fucking story. You know, I was really surprised that did. But hey, you know, like we said, who knows what drives these things. So you
know what? Everybody picked up on her sort of laughing off whatever non-controversy existed with Opeth, and that was, with OTEP, and so that was the story they pick up with, and I'm like, what? She didn't say anything about OTEP. That was out of line by any stretch, but that's what gets written about.
Yeah, I think what they were trying to basically dig up the old controversy, because I listened to OTEP's interview with Jamie Jaster when she was hammering them basically, and you know, look, OTEP's we've both, you know, chatted to her, and she's a very intelligent woman, and I have no reason to doubt that you know, what she said happened. But it's just a long time ago. I mean, trying to restart that as some kind of controversy is a bit lame, really.
I don't know. I think you're right. Anything a woman says happened, I'm going to probably nod and go, yeah, it probably did. So it makes it tough when you got two women giving two different takes on what happened. But you know what? Half the time, they're both right. You know, probably almost all the time, they're both right. It's just perspectives, you know.
Well, you know what they say. There's three versions of every story, of every version. There's your version, there's my version, and then there's the truth.
Yep.
You know, because both of our versions will be coloured by our perceptions.
Do you think all of these like stories on sexual assaults by these guys within the metal scene? Do you think that's going to be the big story that comes out of this year, the one that's talked about?
Well, I don't know. The thing is that I live in a country where we don't film trials. People's names are kept out of the press. When something is just an allegation, and I just feel uncomfortable with people just posting on Facebook and posting on Twitter serious fucking allegations. I don't know. There's a system for that. Now, clearly, these people feel that system either doesn't work for them, but I feel uncomfortable with the court of social media being used to try people without due process.
Well, I'll tell you why I think you're wrong, right? So the first thing is that what's great about the social media platforms is, with the exception of Twitter, which has got its character limitations, but usually can get around that, the person who's making the claim can do so without any filter. You know, they can just put their words down. If they go to a newspaper, if they go to even if they were to go to a police station, for example, and tell them what it is, it all gets written down and then it gets filtered through the system. And I love the fact that they can communicate exactly how they want to communicate, so that later on no one can can say, oh, well, geez, that wasn't what I said, or that's not how I said it, or that's not what I meant to say. Well, here it is. You can sit down. You can spend months deciding how you want to put it down, how you want to describe it. You're in total control. I think that's great.
I think we're coming at this from two different angles, because what I'm talking about is go to a lawyer and take out proceedings. Get on with it.
But what if it's a crime you can't prove?
Well, doesn't that work both ways?
How so?
Well, isn't that called slander?
No, not necessarily.
Slander
would be when you're making a claim that is definitely not true.
Yeah, but if you're and we just stated that you can't prove it. So it's
right,
kind of
that doesn't make it untrue.
Without proof, it's very difficult. And again, it's kind. I don't know. I just struggle with. And don't get me wrong, I am not in any way trying to say, oh, guys in bands should get off the hook. I'm not in any way. I'm just really uncomfortable with. Put it this way, okay? I will guarantee amongst all of these accusations that at least 10% are false.
What proof do you have of that?
The same proof that anything ever happened in the first place. Yeah. No, I'm saying, do you know what my proof is? Human nature. I'm saying anybody getting on the hashtag #MeToo train has the absolute ability to draw attention to themselves and get their 15 minutes of fame.
I don't know that is driving...
Dude, that's human nature. That's human nature. And again, like I said, that doesn't mean, I don't want to focus on those 10%. That means there's 90% out there who are genuine and who are saying, look, and I think it's brilliant that women are drawing other women's attention to say, this dude, this guy here, you need to watch yourselves.
Right.
Which is, and
well,
that's
and
a service.
The great thing is that you've got dudes who are doing things that seem like, to them, relatively normal dude things, and they're being called out for it, and they're going, you can practically see them kind of going, I did what? What's wrong with that? And it's like, no, because you're not thinking in terms of empathy. You're not thinking about how your actions affect anybody. You're too busy thinking about your dick.
Yeah, and also I think I also think there's a thing with age as well, as in when guys in bands were a bit younger, and they were pretty much abusing their position. That it's not, I'm not making any excuse at all, but I think you will get you will have musicians thinking, oh shit. Do you know what I mean? I'm right. Okay, that's the first time I've ever thought about that incident since it happened, and shit, she's right.
Yeah, the Eddie Hermida reaction to the claim that the underage girl, I think in Norway or Sweden, somewhere in Scandinavia, had made against him, that was kind of the reaction that he seemed to have, which was like, yeah, I wasn't treating her well, but, what's wrong? That was sort of seemed to be his I'm putting words in his mouth, and maybe, not, that isn't the way he wanted to express himself, but that was the way I interpreted it. And it reminded me of when we had our conversation with him when he was first brought into Suicide Silence, and I was like, dude, now you like you're the cock of the walk, as they say. You're able to walk into a club, and instead of you being in some schlub death metal band that you're in before, now you're in like a world famous metalcore band. That's a different kind of thing. And he was excited about it. And it turns out that he kind of took advantage of it a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Well, I got to tell you this story as well. I was on tour with a band back in the day, and one of the guys was saying about something that happened in the States, and basically this girl had come on board. She'd been watching him the whole night they were playing. She came on the bus and she was like, I want you, and made no bones about it, and virtually dragged him into his bunk of his bus, and they met, so they were in there, and he's done the deed, and they're sat there having a chat, and suddenly there's this banging on the front of the bus. And they go to the front of the bus, and it's this girl's fiance. And I've been told my fiance's on there, and she's like, "Oh shit, I've got to go." And 1 week later, that was a rape case.
So you're focusing on that 10% again.
No. I'm just saying from as a personal experience, as a conversation that I have had, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm like, so if that's going to happen, yeah, you are going to get people. I mean, look, this is human nature here. Women and men, still human. And human nature is there is going to be people out there who are going to ride the wave, who have completely undeservedly, who've got absolute no, and they do everybody disservice, but they're purely there to get some attention. But again, as I said, I'm saying human nature. If it was the other way round, there'd be at least 10% of guys doing exactly the same thing.
Chuck and I, a couple of years ago, we got to interview Carmine Appice of Vanilla Fudge and Rod Stewart's band, all those, and we did this off the podcast at a conference. And interesting guy, all thing. I'm doing all sorts of research and stuff like that on him, and I came across the Mud Shark story. Are you familiar with the Mud Shark story?
I am not familiar with the Mud Shark story. Are you, listeners? Are you familiar with the story? No, didn't think you were.
Okay.
Godless, over to you.
So if you want to hear, sort of like old school rock debauchery, you gotta Google Led Zeppelin Mud Shark incident. So to put it like, to kind of put it into like a small little intriguing ball for you guys to go play with.
No, tell us the story. Tell us the story. You can't whet our appetites like that.
I don't remember all the details, but
right.
We'll just say that I think Vanilla Fudge were on tour with Led Zeppelin. They're in a hotel somewhere, and we'll assume a female Led Zeppelin fan makes her way into the hotel room, and she's, for all intents and purposes, sexually assaulted, and there's a mud shark involved, which is a long, thin fish.
Oh my God! Right.
Somehow made an appearance.
Right. Okay. I thought mud shark was a euphemism for something, but it's not. It's a mud shark.
It actually is a mud shark.
Fucking hell! Right. I was convinced that this was some sort of sex aid that I've never heard of.
Well, it was, but it wasn't intended.
Fucking hell!
So it's written about in Hammer of the God.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, reconnecting. Your connection is poor. Fucking shouldn't be. Okay, so we're back.
Sorry about that. So
no.
I had this whole internal debate in my mind as to whether, like, should I ask Carmine about the Mud Shark episode or not? And I guess, like, what I wanted to avoid was I didn't want to be reinforcing the sort of misogynistic, non-empathetic rock star cliches from 40, 50 years ago by, hey, tell me about the Mud Shark episode, ha, 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 ha. And everybody kind of laughed because, I'm not about to judge the morality that did or didn't exist in 1973 in 2017. And it's too far back. And I wasn't there, I don't know. Maybe she was into it, I don't know, but like now it just feels wrong sort of thinking about stories like that in those terms.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, you didn't want to just be in a Beavis and Butthead situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But usually I am. So.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You're Beavis and Chuck's Butthead. We've decided that. But so changing subject entirely. Well, not entirely, because obviously it's still music. Obviously, I will eagerly await your countdown of your favourite 150 albums of the year. What's your top 5? Have you got it yet?
It's close, and I'm not sure exactly what's what, but like favorite albums is the new Junius album, which I think is It's not the album that I listened to most this year, but it's the album I was most impressed by because I felt it was progressive and interesting, and I don't mean progressive as in like that listening to Mahavishnu Project. I mean progressive as in it's very forward thinking. There's nothing like it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Great band for years, but this album just really kind of brought it all together.
What band is that? Sorry.
They're called Junius.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. The album's called Eternal Rituals for the Accretion of Light.
Oh dear. Oh dear. They also get #1 most pretentious album title of the year. Well done.
But the album that I listened to more than any of this year was this Australian band called North Lane. And the album's called Mesmer. And it's just a freaking Hookville. It's just Hookville.
Yeah, I, to be honest, I tried. After they were on your podcast, I tried. But, yeah, it was a big fat meh from me, I'm afraid. But
yeah, because they're under the age of 30.
Oh, don't be cheeky. I like plenty of young bands. God, who thought I'd ever say young would be under 30?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, mate, hey, look, to each their own. You like Woven War, so that's
the first album.
That's the benchmark.
I keep on trying that second album because I feel like there's how could that first album have been so incredibly good and the second to just sort of land with a thud? But I can't find anything. That first album should have been 15 minutes, 3-4 songs shorter than it was.
Yes.
And then those songs would have been freaking great on the second album,
Yeah. They quite clearly got carried away with themselves without having a murderous arsehole in the band. So it's like, hey guys, we can do what we want. Yay! And yeah. So sorry, so that's 2. Next up?
New Tooth Grinder. Phantom
right.
Amour. Oh man, the album's so good. What's funny is that their last album, and I can't remember the name of it. The last album was one of those that Chuck just raved about, and I listened to it twice, and I couldn't find it. It wasn't until I got a hold of a super, 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 super early cut of this Phantom Amour that I got hooked on the first listen, and then I go, okay, I got to go listen to the last album, and what the hell was I thinking to think that last album was not so great?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's almost like I know what it's like. It's like you've found the code, and now you can go back and decode the previous album and go, oh right, yeah, what was I thinking? This is fucking great.
But Tooth Grinder, this new album, it rocks. It's got. They're thinking in terms of melody even more. And they just sound, they're super young guys who are just getting much more confident about their songwriting and being willing to, just let a groove, sort of hang and do its thing. And, it's one of those albums that there's 2 or 3 songs that I can play in the kitchen and it's not going to blow out everybody else in the room, where unlike their last album, which is it's unlistenable for anybody who's not a metal fan. This album is a lot more going for a bigger audience.
So you think I should check it out then?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Right. Okay. Next up,
Volumes, Different Animals. It's cut from the similar cloth to North Lane. That sort of new progression of metalcore, but they got a new singer whose name is escaping me at the moment. They do a dual singer thing, and the new guy who does the clean singing, he's just got this soulful, really, really cool voice, and I'm not about to say something really terribly cliche like John Legend in a metal band, but the truth of the matter is that he's got a really awesome new take on how you can do clean singing on that sort of metalcore sound, and it totally works.
Oh, cool. Well, I like the sound of that.
I will investigate.
Of course, there's a couple duds on the album, or sort of, I wouldn't call them duds. There are a couple points in songs where I go, shit. And, it's like there's a rapper on one song and things like that where I kind of go, that you could have done without that. It was a great song without it. But other than a couple missteps, it's a really, really terrific record.
Cool, man. Cool. No, I'm glad to hear it. I've lost count. Have we done 5?
We did 4.
Right.
5. This is a tough one, but I really love the new album by this new band called 100 Suns. It's the singer Corey from what band is he in? I'm blanking, but I'll think of it in a minute. But 100 Suns is just this really, really terrific. You can't really pigeonhole it. Just straight up metal band. Really, really awesome hooks. Yeah, super, super great stuff.
Well, cool, man. So, I mean, I know you and Chuck will do your top 15, won't you, as usual?
Yeah, 10 or 15, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm always amazed by the volume of music that you get through. It is just pretty heroic. And I don't know. It's the. I don't know where you're. I know you like the new. You like the last Mastodon album.
I did, yeah. In fact, that's another contender for top 5 for sure.
Yeah, that's in my top 5. Top 5. I wasn't that keen on the previous album, Once More Around the Sun, but I fucking loved The Hunter. I thought The Hunter was superb.
Huh.
But the new album, I was just absolutely won over. I think in fact, I listened to it in the car today and it just reminded me yet again of what a phenomenal album it is.
It's funny, while you were listening to the new album, I was listening to Cold Dark Place today, probably at exactly the same time. And it's funny because that whole pitch on Cold Dark Place was, oh no, this is the darker songs on the album that didn't make the album. And I don't hear that at all. There's actually 1 or 2 almost happy Mastodon songs on that EP that to me felt like they could have totally fit with everything else on the latest.
Emperor of Sand, that's the one. Emperor of Sand, that's it.
Emperor of Sand, yeah, exactly. Oh, and the singer from 100 Suns is also in Norma Jean, by the way.
Oh, right, thank you very much. What a horrendous band name that is. It's just Norma Jean.
I've never been a big Norma Jean fan. I still don't listen to Norma Jean if given the chance.
Really?
But 100 Suns, I'm all on board.
No, I would have thought you were a big Norma Jean fan because they've got a terrible name. Dance Gavin Dance, any band with a shit name, and you're in there.
But I think there's a higher than 5% Jesus component to Norma Jean.
Oh, right, okay. No can do. No can do. Oh, God, yeah. Keep thy religion to thyself. Which is
just dispose of it entirely. Can you please?
Yeah, well, God, yeah. There is that. There is that. So news stories, yeah. I mean, wow, we've really done the we've done the abuse stories. And obviously, we lost Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington within a few weeks of each other. I tell you what, I was surprised at, and I'm not saying I'm not saying people were falsely grieving or anything like that. I was surprised by the amount of people in my social media circle and my friends circle who I never knew had any time for Linkin Park whatsoever. And all of a sudden, it turns out, they were like, oh, fucking hell, Hybrid Theory, what a great album that was. I'm like, what? Really? Oh.
They're still spending the money that they got when they sold that back to the record store 10 years ago. What are you talking about, the great album?
No, but do you know what I mean? I was really surprised across all sorts of people who were like, yeah, no, that album got me into this, and I was even a member of Acid Rain was like, yeah, no, that was a good album, man. I really like that, and I was like, oh god, right.
You know what? But every one of those assholes, every single last one of them, who are like metal fans, not like traditional Linkin Park fans, but metal fans, like every single one of them, the day before Chester Bennington did himself in, was making fun of Chester Bennington for being such a washed up, a creatively lost singer. The day after he dies, he's the most amazing singer ever, and Hybrid Theory blew my mind and all that sort of thing. It's like, you know what? Guess what? He was all those things.
Yeah,
the
truth is somewhere in between.
Yeah, it's all of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that there without a doubt there are grief groupies around, who love to just pile in on it.
The biggest surprise for me was that there was some asshole in the world who, after Chris Cornell committed suicide, thought to himself, hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, having said that, I don't know if you saw the story on Blabbermouth the other day where Sebastian Bach said that I could never kill myself. So it's not all good news.
The year's not over, and these things tend to happen in threes, right?
But it was a bit. I read that story. I was like, dude, that headline has got a couple of words missing.
Well, you know what? I think that like reuniting with his old band is creative suicide, so that's close enough, right? I'm sure that's happening.
I think I think the only time he's going to reunite with his old band is after he's dead. It's certainly that doesn't look like that.
Are we putting money on that? I bet you he's on stage with them by midway through. No, I'll say by the end of 2018.
Right, okay. I'll have you back on next Christmas podcast to prove that was a load of bullshit, and that it's not happening. I am definitely.
Right.
Oh yeah, right. You've just got yourself your 5th appearance on Talking Bollocks all lined up.
So Sebastian Bach reunites at least for one night with Skid Row before 31st of December 2018.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So yeah, I was going to say I'll take that bet, but we haven't bet anything. So you and I bet Chuck still can't say Talking Bollocks by that time as well. I'll definitely go on that one. So we lost Chris Cornell as well, which was and do you know what I found really and I know this is going to sound weird, but what I found really heartening about the fallout from his death was I always thought of Chris Cornell as one of our guys. You know, he's a guy from the metal scene, and he did all sorts of other stuff, but basically Soundgarden, Audio Slave. He did some solo albums, but he was known for Soundgarden and Audio Slave, metal bands. He was a metal singer, a metal frontman. And I found it really heartwarming, all of the different creative people coming out from all different walks of life saying what a great loss it was and what an amazing voice he had.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It reached across boundaries. There was classical singers saying, what an absolute tragedy, what an iconic voice, and I think if Pavarotti had still been alive, he'd have said, what a shame. It was coming from everywhere, and I found that really, really heartwarming. I don't know why. I think it was just a case of trying to take something positive out of it. But I don't know. I kind of felt proud as somebody who's into metal that one of our guys had made such a big impression outside of the world of metal as well.
and yet he did Black Hole Sun. So the truth is somewhere in between.
Look, I know you don't like that song, okay, but you don't need to nail the guy Jesus Christ pose every time, to a tree every time it's brought up.
If I didn't have to hear it over and over and over again, then it'd be all right. Why can't the Red Hot Chili Peppers commit suicide? Why couldn't one of them have said, you know what, Chris Cornell, it's a really good idea. Not that I'm wishing that they commit suicide. It's a terrible thing to suggest, and I'm not suggesting that. I'm just suggesting,
you did. Yes, you did. You said, why can't one of them commit suicide? And 2 sentences later, you're saying, not that I'm saying that. No, you just said it. Dear me, own it, fucking own it, mate. I found out a long time ago that if you say something really fucking stupid, you've just got to keep on going. Hold on tight and just fucking double down, go even more stupid, nail your colours to the mast, and it'll all work out in the end.
But yeah, I totally agree with you on Chris Cornell. Like, I mean, the thing that was somewhat, sadly perfect about his suicide is that he did not appear in any way, shape, or form to those of us who had no idea who he was or what he was struggling with, that he would be prone to do such an awful thing to himself, and therefore makes us much more aware of our friends and family and people who are around us who we might also think, oh, no, they'd never do it. Because, geez, I mean, Chris Cornell had everything going for him. Beautiful wife and family, good looks, tons of money, 100% creative freedom. Like he could show up anywhere in the world, pick out his guitar, and open his mouth, and people would throw money at him. I mean, to the rest of us, this all seems perfect.
Yeah, but I you could say all of that about Chester Bennington as well, but unfortunately, it's not about what's going on outside, it's about what's going on inside. Exactly.
But see, that's the thing. It's like, if Chris Cornell looked like me, everybody would go, yeah, but ugly as goddamn sin, no wonder he did himself in. Or, if his career was on the downslide, people would go, oh, well, geez, yeah, he was starting to kind of go, he couldn't write good songs anymore, and people weren't paying to see him anymore. But there was none of that.
They were in the middle of a sold-out tour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. And that's what freaks me out. And I must admit, when I first heard, once I got over the shock, all I could think about was those poor guys. Those poor guys who shared a stage with him hours before. What an experience.
Yeah.
What to have somebody banging on your hotel room door. You might not have even got a chance to get to sleep yet after that night's show. And Chris is dead. I mean, that has just got to completely fuck you up.
Oh, totally. And, I go to that just with my mom. Like, geez, what could I have said? What could I have done? And I know, be all into all things. They're like, there's nothing I could have said. There's nothing I could have done. It was going to go the way it was going to go. And she didn't commit suicide, but, in a sort of rapid manner. But like for that to have happened and you've been with somebody just practically minutes before, to be wondering, geez, could I have done something? How many bands that we talk to will say, oh yeah, we're on tour, and nobody really talks to each other. We're all doing our own thing.
Yeah.
Boy, if somebody in the band does something like what Chris did, you got to be thinking to yourself, geez, maybe we should have gone out and gotten a pint together,
Yeah, absolutely. It's perspective, isn't it? Unfortunately, sometimes it takes something like this to put everything into perspective. It is. It's horrendous. It's horrendous. But look, we're just coming up to the hour mark, and I do want to have a little chat with you as regard for my Patreon listeners. But for now, my friend. It's been wonderful having you on Talking Bollocks again, and you're always welcome, even next year when I rip the piss out of you for being wrong about Skid Row and Sebastian Bach.
Who the hell cares that much about Skid Row anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. On that note, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And since we recorded that, Sebastian Bach has been saying that it's possibly more likely that they are actually going to get together. Although and I saw that news story and I didn't do anything, and then all of a sudden, a few days later, I get a link to that story tweeted at me by Godless saying, "Oh yeah, what about?" And it's like, the reason I didn't bring it up with him is it's such a non-story. You know, he reckons it's like, there's a few text messages been flying about, and if one thing's certain, Sebastian Bach is not a reliable source when it comes to Skid Row going to get back together again, because he's been going on and on about how he'd like to do it for ages. It's Skid Row who are the ones going, nah, don't want to do that, and there's 4 of them. So yeah, Godless, I'm sticking by that. I don't think it's going to happen. I really hope it doesn't, just so I can get him on and roast him about it next year. Roast him about it. That's an American term, really. Rip the piss would be what I will be doing in true Talking Bollocks style. So that brings us to the end of part 1. Ooh, wasn't that a lot of fun? Hey, are you full of chocolate? You're full of sweets? Have you eaten too much turkey? Are you bored? Are you tired? Have you got indigestion? Have you been for a run to try and make yourself feel better? Do you find you're doing nothing but sleep? No matter how, and even though no matter how much sleep you get, you still feel tired? Fucking weird, isn't it? Have you got a cold yet? You're going to get one. Are you feeling rough? You should do. Are you pissed? Are you sober? Have you been shopping? Been out on the sales, have you? Spending your Christmas money like a fucking 15-year-old? Or have you just been sat around doing fuck all? Well, do you know what you should do? You should listen to part 2.